it's Monday, February 14th, and that means it's time for another episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia Nonprofit Conversations. I'm one of your hosts, Cecilia Sepp. I'm the principal and founder of Road Tulips Nonprofit Consulting, and I'm here with my co-host and friend, Agnes. I'm going to throw it over to Agnes to say hello.
Thank you, Cecilia. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global audience, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an association executive. Over to you, Cecilia.
Great. Thank you, Agnes. And we are really happy to have Joy Duling from the Joy of Membership back with us today to talk about what has changed for the member experience. But before we dig into the topic, Joy, would you like to say hello to our audience and tell us a little about yourself?
Hi, everyone. It's great to be back here with you again for a second time. Thanks for inviting me, Cecilia, Agnes. So my name is Joy Duling. I am the founder of the Joy of Membership, and I also operate a membership software tool called Journey Care. I've been working with associations, trade groups, and membership-based nonprofits since 2005. So I'm in my 16th year of business. So love this work, love this industry.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yes,
That's wonderful.
congrats.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And we all do want to acknowledge if you are in a part of the world that celebrates Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day to you, and hope that you are enjoying your day. And it's no more appropriate time to talk about the joy of membership. You're a joyful person than Joy. So Joy, it's February 14th, 2022. So the lockdown situation, although we aren't in 100% lockdown anymore, it's still kind of lingering out there with rules and regulations and things we need to be aware of. And we all talked a lot about the shift to virtual meetings or hybrid meetings over the last couple of years, but there's probably been a more extensive impact on members than we realize. So with your extensive work with Journey Care, with working with membership associations over the last couple of years, what do you see has changed dramatically for the member experience?
Well, I think that it has been an interesting couple of years. And I think that a lot of associations were thrust into change and making change swiftly. And we've learned a lot over 2 years. I think, when we look at what the member experience is, we have to think about what we've all experienced over the last couple of years. We've seen a blurring of remote work versus in-office work. We've seen a blurring of, what work hours are and what home hours are and what education hours are for our children. That's all gotten kind of mixed up. We've seen people who maybe weren't super comfortable in virtual settings and now very comfortable on Zoom and Hangouts and things like that, because they've just had so much experience with it over the last couple of years. We've seen changing expectations of, customers and management, and all sorts of emerging tech around the ways we do work, the ways we meet, and all of that is changing member expectations of their membership organizations.
That's right. So Agnes, do you have a question?
No, I think that's a great overview, Joy. And one of the things that comes to mind is kind of getting your take on what are some of the new membership engagement trends that you're seeing out there that our global audience can benefit from.
So I've seen higher expectations, let's put it that way, trends in higher expectations really in 5 areas. I think that members are becoming much clearer about spending time doing things that matter and things that actually create value in their lives and in their business. So they're holding their membership organizations to a higher standard, that what they're going to participate in has to be purposeful, it has to matter. I see them holding organizations to a higher standard around self-service and digital experiences. There are higher expectations around communication and having kind of omni-channel communication, different ways that you can engage in conversations with your members, not just, doing email blasts, but actually having two-way conversations through a variety of different, tech channels. Inclusiveness and diversity very much has been an issue, maybe not directly pandemic related, but over the last couple of years, we've really seen a shift in focus on that, and members are bringing that expectation into their member experience. And then, looking for that trusted voice, also having, so much attention on, who are the speakers of truth. Can you trust what's on social media? Can you trust what's on the news? And I think members are looking to their membership organizations, their membership communities to see, who can I trust on the topics that are important to me? So those 5 key areas very much influencing what people are expecting in terms of their member experience.
Wow, those are great insights. Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
Yeah, and I agree with all 5 of those, but I think maybe what's happened last couple of years is the focus on those has intensified, because all of those 5 things, in my opinion, are things that members have been looking for a number of years. I think that we have had this opportunity to have those more in-depth DEI conversations, and some of the DEI consultants I've been talking with say now we're getting into the next phase, which is belonging, as opposed to feeling welcome. And so I think that is such an important part of that member experience. I think, Joy, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how do you create that feeling, because it's hard to make people feel something, right? It's hard to make them feel warm and fuzzy, as some people have said to me over the last couple of years. How do we create that feeling of belonging in a world where we've been doing so much interaction on Zoom?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say I totally agree with what you said in terms of, these dynamics, being there for a long time, and it's just intensified. I think if you look at, if you look over the years, there's been a gradual rise in expectations around technology, expectations around diversity, inclusion, all of those things. But then we got into the last couple of years and it was like, whoosh, there's like a spike. So definitely agree with you. In terms of how you can make someone feel something, I think that, connecting with members in a way that makes them feel something comes down to interacting with them as if you are interacting with an individual person. So a lot of times when we're planning our communications as organizations, we're thinking, what do we say to our members? What needs to be in the newsletter to all of our members? What do we need to put in our, annual survey for all of our members? And we really need to start thinking about, what do I need to have conversation with Cecilia around? What do I need to have conversation with Agnes around? And start thinking about our communications as being one-to-one. Even if it's happening in a one-to-many format, we still need to be thinking about how can we know something about Cecilia and Agnes that would help us personalize that communication and speak to what each of them feels is important. And there are tools. There are tools that can help you do that,
Absolutely.
Collecting data and being able to personalize web pages, personalize emails, all those things are possible nowadays.
And the person that has actually exemplified that and done it very well, it's Amazon. So I think it's great. No, it's true. That's why they are. That's why they're successful. And it's just, it's phenomenal that, the market presence of Amazon because of that reason, particularly the ability to understand the needs of their audience and personalizing it to meet their needs. So thank you for sharing that.
I'm just laughing, Agnes, because you used Amazon, which is an excellent example. And I'm just laughing because I've been an Amazon Prime member since I think 2003 or something.
So you know it.
Like they wouldn't know way too much about me. But I was like, I joke around, I'm enthralled to Jeff Bezos, because I also used to have a Washington Post subscription, and he
That's
owns
right.
it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh my God.
Well,
Yeah,
I smiled because the image that popped in my head was that that meme that kind of goes around the internet every now and then, where it's like, UPS and FedEx and USPS can like tell you where your package is, and then it shows Amazon, and it's like, your groceries are sitting on your kitchen table. By the way, you're low on laundry detergent. It's just a
Oh, those-
completely different relationship.
Yes, yes.
And I just like, and here's just another funny aside, and this does kind of relate back to Amazon as a model for, making the member experience a little more personal, a little better.
Mhm.
Years ago, when I first joined up for Amazon Prime, I did it to get the 2-day shipping because
Mhm.
I felt like I can get all these things and I can order them all at once and they will come, in a couple of days.
Mhm.
And they actually used to mail me letters saying, why aren't you watching the videos? And I'm like, because I don't want to, of course now I like watching Amazon Prime. I'm like, but that's the thing. And it kind of bringing it back to the member topic. It's like, Joy, I am so glad you said that, because I've been saying that for years about we can learn more personal things about our members.
Mhm.
It's one of the things I talk about when I do presentations. So I talk with clients. You can create a more personal, individualized experience if you put in a little time and effort into
Mhm.
looking into what that member's been doing for the last couple of years, or maybe some of the things they've posted in your online community. You can learn a little bit about people, maybe send them something a little more personal and on point. And maybe someday associations will get to that point where they have those magic buttons in the person's office where, oh, I need to register. Boom, I'm registered for the
Well,
meeting.
that kind of leads me into my next thought process. So we're going to talk about membership engagement using technology, and it probably will align very nicely to this topic that we've been talking about. So Joy, can you share with us, share with our global audience how they can use technology effectively to solve member problems?
Well, I think that, for every organization, it's going to look a little different because, every association is focused on, solving different problems for members. But I think that it comes down to, really being able to look at both sides of it. You have to have ways that you are collecting information about member problems. And then you have to have ways that you can respond to member problems. So on the one side, technology helping you kind of identify what the problems are. It doesn't even have to be super high tech. You can have, touch points at when someone joins to ask them, what are you most interested? What are your goals for this year? And then you can, store that information in your database automatically. As things come up during the year, then you can kind of tap back to that data and, who said they were interested in this topic, and, have a membership chair or an email or something like that go out that says, hey, you said you were interested in learning this thing this year or accomplishing this goal this year. We're going to be offering, this program that's, exactly for that. So it doesn't have to be super high tech, but it's really a matter of getting at those two things. How can you find out what they're trying to accomplish, and how can you deliver that to them in a way that makes sense?
I think being able to track what our members are doing and being able to give them what they need when they need it is basically the definition of relevance. So believe it or not, we're like almost at the end of our episode because we have been having so much fun talking about the joy of membership with Joy. So Joy, what do you think about that? Like, how do we as associations stay relevant? Because we're only relevant if we have meaning for the member. So what is your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on, like, how do we maintain that relevance? Is it that personalized service?
I think it is the personalized service. I mean, I think that it's impossible for you to stay relevant if you aren't having the conversations with your members. And those conversations can happen at the point of entry. They can happen, periodically with check-ins. They can happen at your events. But somehow you have to be having conversations with them about, what are the challenges that you're facing right now? And, quite frankly, if you are still doing things the same way that you've done for, 5 years, 10 years, you're probably losing touch, because there's not a whole lot in our lives nowadays that we're doing exactly the same way that we were 5 and 10 years ago. We shop differently, we travel differently, we engage in education differently. So, if you're not finding out how your people are engaging in your products and services differently, then you're definitely going to fall behind.
So, well, that's great. And I think that is an excellent point, and I agree with it, because you will fall behind if you keep doing things the way you used to do it. I think the phrase that needs to be completely eliminated from nonprofit management is that's the way we've always done it. Mm-hmm. But we need to get that idea out of people's minds that that needs not to be an option anymore. That option should be removed from the list. We have to be able to be responsive. And I think if nothing else has come out of the last couple of years, we've seen our ability to move quickly in the nonprofit area. And that's something that people have been joking about for years. Oh, it takes forever, for associations to do something, or other kinds of nonprofits to do things. And that's not necessarily the case if they put their mind to it. So if we could get people thinking differently, that would be how we can use all of these great intensified ideas, intensified expectations that Joy outlined for us going forward. So as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we're already like near the end of our episode, so we got to kind of slide into our wrap up. So Agnes, do you have any final questions, closing thoughts before we throw it back over to Joy?
Just more of a closing thought. First of all, Joy, thank you for joining us, for sharing a lot of this great insights. And I really do believe that organizations or associations that are going to be member-centric really needs to be disciplined enough to really focus on some of those priorities that you've shared with us, so that they can make an informed decision on how to service their members. So our global audience, you've heard it from the expert. Watch this video, get more insights from Joy on how to do this and how to make it happen. And again, thank you for joining us.
Great, thanks, Agnes. And Joy, we like to ask our guests, what is the one thought you would like the audience to take away today? And if they'd like to follow up with you later, what's the best way to get in touch?
Well, the one thing that I would like people to take away from this conversation is that membership is a journey. And if you can treat it as a journey and look at each piece of that journey critically, what you're actually doing for members at that stage, it gives you a lot of opportunities for a deeper understanding of your members. It gives you a lot of opportunities for innovation, but most organizations don't sit down and do that on a regular basis. So I hope that this conversation encourages people to do that. People can reach me through my website, joyofmembership.com, or journeycare.app. You'll find me in both places.
Oh, that's great. Well, and we are so glad to find you here today, Joy. So thanks for joining us. And we look forward to having you back to talk about membership some more, because that's why most associations are here, right? For our members. So thanks again, Joy. And on behalf of myself, Joy, and Agnes, thanks for joining us this week. We have to go rogue for now, but we'll be back next week with another exciting episode. So don't forget to subscribe. We are available on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and a variety of other podcast services, including Apple and Google. So look us up there. We're in video and audio. So whatever your taste is in podcast, we're there. If you want to learn more about Rogue Tulips Consulting and how we can help your organization, visit our website, roguetulips.com. If you're interested in CAE courses, either prepping for the exam or to get those valuable renewal points, check out our 501c League offerings, and you can learn more about the League at the 501cleague.net. So we're going rogue for now, and we'll see you next time.